Hey, guys. Welcome back. Another Tuesday already. Crazy how quick the week seems to go, especially when you got lots going on. So, it's a little bit of a passion project tonight. So, between Melanie Robinson and I, we got talking the other day, and we just were like, okay, we need to address some things. So, hey, from Ottawa, welcome, guys. Say who you are, jump on, say where you're from, where you're watching from. I think hey, Harry and Aline. I hope you guys are outside by your dock, by your little lake. So I hope that everyone that joins us today can relate to a little bit of what we're talking about. I know that a lot of women can, and it's not to exclude men from it at all. But there is a major thing that goes on among us investors. And that's when we get our lives out of balance. It's amazing how the stats show that stress leave, divorce, even heart attack is stronger and more for entrepreneurs. So that's entrepreneurs. But as investors, that's what we are. We're entrepreneurs. We are business owners. We are creating businesses. So tonight is all about how, there's those that have to get out of the game because it takes its toll. And there's those that find that, slow and steady wins the race. So Melanie, as you know, our Mind Power Melanie, she's going to come on and talk to us about some of the things that we can actually do to mitigate those things, like those high divorce rates, like, the heart attacks and all those things that happen to us as investors. So welcome, guys. I love all these names and faces that we recognize. It's always so nice to see everybody. So just flashing through a few of these. But welcome, guys. So I'm going to bring on Melanie right away, and we're going to talk about a few things, give you a little bit of actual tactical things that you can do to actually move through this process. But we're going to give you a little bit of background before we get started. So let me just bring on Melanie. There she is. Woo!
Hello.
I do feel like we're both really close to the screen.
I know. It's like I need to back up here.
How's that? Maybe that's a little bit better. So let's share with them. Like, we've been talking, and I'll actually start with a friend of mine who texted me the other day. And so get this, she has lost both her father and her brother in the last 2.5 months to cancer. So she is also the manager of a bank, and she's also an investor. So to say that things are a little bit much for her right now is an understatement. But amazingly, she didn't, we've been obviously in contact anyways, but she reached out to talk about how she can find a balance. My answer, as you know, Mel, was there is no way to have a balance in that. You can't have it all, is my opinion. So let's talk a little bit about, an investor's journey. What do you see and find as our NLP experts that, knows the struggles that we all have? What do you see for us as investors?
Well, I would say, from my NLP background, but also from doing the accountability calls and just connecting with a lot of different investors, in this journey, I feel like, you and I have this conversation a lot. I feel like one of the biggest, my passion around this topic is that people feel alone in their struggles. It's like all we see are, we see the highlight reel on social media and not the challenges, but like really, truly, we only see, for the most part, these wins. And from my perspective, I see so many investors and talk to so many investors who are feeling bad about themselves, feeling less than, feeling like, why is this working for everybody else and not for me? How come they're rocking it so fast and I'm not? What's wrong with me? There must be something wrong with me. And I think that's the really big piece that I'm going to say bothers me. Like, it's heartbreaking to me when I hear that, because I know that's not the truth. I know that everybody struggles at different times. I know the length of time it takes for people, and they feel like they're getting nowhere before they actually get somewhere. So I feel like that's a really big piece for investors, is that somehow people feel alone in their struggles. They think they're the only one who's overwhelmed or stressed or, being hard on themselves, beating themselves up. And it's just absolutely not the case.
Absolutely. So I just took it off, but this is what we see, right? We see the highlight reels of people's lives.
Yeah.
And, in Investor Life, we really do believe that you should create this life that you don't need a vacation from. But this stuff, this is all fun. This is all awesome. This is all what we aspire to create by becoming investors. But what we don't see is this kind of stuff that along the way, like, look at these babies. Look at these baby faces. We were 25 years old. And do we look confident? I look at those faces. We just look, I don't think we look as lost as we felt, but we certainly felt lost. But yet, this picture of the iceberg, guys, this is what everyone sees. They see the success. They see the tip sticking out and they go, wow, that's amazing. What they see is the sleepless nights, the, crying myself all the way home in my car, the pulling over, being so tired that I would pull over on my way home. I only live 25 minutes from the city or 20 minutes from the city and have to have a nap.
Wow.
Up until 2 and 3 a.m., on a regular basis. Putting in floors for the first time and then finding out that we didn't put the spacers in properly. Different things like that. You don't see all the hard work, the persistence, the late nights, the rejection, the sacrifice, the discipline, the failure, the risks. All we see is that highlight reel.
Yeah.
And what can happen, Mel, when that's all we see and yet we're struggling? What can happen to us?
Oh gosh. I mean, you feel completely alone. You feel defeated. You feel like giving up. You feel like there's something wrong with you. You feel like there's, like you're doing something wrong, like you're a failure. I mean, there's all sorts of different heartbreaking things that happen to individuals when we compare ourselves to other people. And it's not even accurate what we're comparing ourselves to, that highlight reel. We have no clue what other people are going through right now, what they have gone through. And so, obviously in an ideal situation, you don't compare yourself. Gosh, I feel like I'm so close. In an ideal, it's okay. It's all good. I just won't look at myself. Exactly. In an ideal situation, we are not comparing ourselves to each other, and we're really getting super clear on our goals, what's important to us in our life, all of that. I mean, the reality is that's not how we live in this social media world. We do spend a lot of time online. So it's really, I'm going to say it's a struggle. It's a choice. And that's where all of my mindset stuff that I care so much about is, I think, more important than ever, because it's the only way for people to gain control of that and build their inner environment to support them in achieving what they want to achieve.
Yes. And I think that's what I love, is that inner environment that you're talking about. I don't know who you are, Facebook user, but I love this comment. Being up at 2:30 in the morning on December 23rd, painting before your chance to take possession January 1st. Grateful that Walmart is open 24 hours at that time of year so you can still shop for your kids for Christmas. That's the life of an investor. And that is typical. Now, here's the thing. The thing is that if you continue to allow that to be your life, I truly believe, I've seen it over the last 18 years, I truly believe you will not be in real estate in 4 years.
Yeah.
I do believe it takes people out. It is the emotional toll on people's lives that take them out of the game. And why is that such a travesty? Is because wealth doesn't actually kick in until mortgages are paid down, properties have gone, rents have gone up, markets have stabilized, properties have stabilized. That's when we really see wealth in real estate. And yet, the large majority of people don't make it. And so I love that you have an exercise you're going to walk us through that talks about, what is it? Now, and a lot of it is, when we talked about this the other day, that a lot of it is that when our life doesn't, when what we're doing in our life doesn't align with who we are, that's when we feel the pull that's making us feel inauthentic, tired, run down. Those fuel tanks that we're giving and giving and giving as investors are being emptied constantly. And unless we're staying true to who we are and what we feel is important, those fuel tanks are not getting refilled. We will run out of gas. And guys, stress, leave, and divorce is a very real thing in this investor world, in this entrepreneurial world, but in this investor world as well. So what can we do to mitigate some of those things? That's what we're talking about. Go ahead.
No, I didn't know if you were asking me what can we do, or if you were saying that's what we're talking about.
I think what we're talking about. What can we do?
I mean, I think you nailed it. I think one of the important pieces is that people get so focused on success, which is great. Like, none of what I'm saying, I think I should preface it with this, and hopefully everybody knows me well enough to know I want success too. I'm not all airy-fairy mindset, just find balance and zen and don't go after your goals. No, I want to achieve some really big things, but I want to do it in a way that where I can sleep at night, where I feel good about it, where I'm still honoring the relationships that are important to me, and that I can actually be happy today versus waiting for happiness tomorrow once I've achieved something, right? So I think one of the really big pieces is, with all of us that are so driven, which is pretty much everyone here, you have to be willing to stop. You have to be willing to stop and reassess, to evaluate, how is this going for me? Is this working? You know, if you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, anxious, notice you're snapping at the people you love, that you don't have the time to do the things you love to do. I think one of the hardest things for high achievers is to actually be willing to stop long enough to reassess and try to figure out what the heck is going on and what changes do I need to make in order to feel fulfilled and to change that, whatever it is, stress, anxiety, overwhelm, frustration, all of those things. We go on to the next, do our to-do list, buy this property, look at this, analyze that, go. And all of a sudden, people land where, you know, their relationship, they've grown too far apart with their kids or with their spouse or, you know, with their parents, all those things. So I think step number one is we have to be committed enough to ourselves to stop and evaluate and reevaluate constantly.
I love it. Yeah. And sometimes we feel like we don't have that time, but it reminds me of that expression that says, you know, you can either make time so you don't get sick. No, I had it written down earlier today. What is it?
I don't know what it is, but I know exactly what you're saying, because basically you're going to be forced to take time one way or another is the bottom line.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to share with you a couple of comments of things that we've heard from people over the last, and this is the thing, guys, you know, we've been talking a little bit lately, and this is not new. And I think that one thing that I really recognize is, you know, where Corey and I probably started to become leaders was that we were tired. We were stressed. We were, you know, going around at networking events, and we weren't saying, hey, life is perfect. We were saying, this sucks. When is it going to get better? And we were saying, it's okay if it sucks. We're okay with it sucking for a while. We can do this for a while. But just being honest and being truthful about it, I think really helps for people to know that we're not alone. So you're not alone, guys. If you're feeling that way, moms especially, you know, this mom guilt that you get, you're not alone in it. But what can we do to change it? That's what I really want to talk about today. Now, I want to read a couple of comments of things that we've heard from. Take time for wellness, or you'll be forced to take time for illness. Thank you.
There you go.
That's it. Yeah, I love it. So this is some of the messages that we've gotten over the last little while. I'm tired. That's all I can say. I don't think I can do this thing anymore. So simple, but right or breaking, right? I'm tired. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Another one. I feel like a total and utter failure in my eyes and in my family's eyes. I don't know if I can keep going.
Heartbreaking.
It's so sad. It's so sad. And here's the thing. Melanie, tell us about a few months ago, lying on a couch
Lord.
on a.
Mind power Mel at my best. Mind power Mel at my best. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, we've all been there, and this is where I never want to complain, or I don't post things to get the response. I post things to help people know you're not alone, and that's just a passion of mine. So my flip. So I did a flip. We bought it last summer, and at that time the market was hot. While I was renovating it, so this was the first one I was going to renovate without Jason doing any of the work. I was like completely hired everything out and did it in record time, completed it in 6 weeks, feeling so good, like, woo, I did it all by myself. And in that 6 weeks, because of COVID, the condo market here completely died. Like, people did not want to get in elevators, shared, hallways, all of that kind of thing. And it went from hot to dead, even though condos typically here are really hot because it's all you can afford, right?
Right.
In a complex with pools and, across the street from restaurants and coffee shops and dike systems and trails. Like, I loved it. And I was so excited. And then boom, the condo market dies.
Yeah.
So it was on the market a lot longer than I had hoped. I had private lenders in the community that I obviously had a responsibility to. Long story short, there was a period in time where we got an offer and we hadn't had offers, and that offer was $49,000, so $50,000 lower than we had worked our numbers. So that was basically, I worked in a $20,000 profit. So that was meaning I was getting a $30,000 hit.
Yeah.
And after
all the work you put in, like, that's the thing. It's not like you've done nothing for this.
Oh my gosh.
Your butt off. Your girls have missed out on your time with them. Jason's missed it. Like, even Grant is saying, like, oh no, wait. I haven't seen my 2 teen kids since Christmas due to the pandemic access and being so busy. It's hard on the heart and the mind with distance. It's so true. It's hard. And to stay sane, right? You guys, if you're feeling this, throw it in the comments, because it's really nice to hear that we're not the only ones when we're going through these kinds of things. Melanie's not the only one who got an offer lower than the numbers that she worked out. I'm not the only one that, for me, put my name down on buying properties that I didn't have the money for, and literally couldn't eat or sleep for days at a time because I was flipping out at what I did to myself, yet I did it. So throw your thoughts in the comments, guys, just so that we all know that we're all here, we're all playing the same game, we're all having the same issues. And I love your comments, Grant. It's just awesome. And
I think, like, to expand on this, my flip, so that's one thing. Yes, I was getting an offer that was below ask, and I really thought I needed to take it at that point in time, and I was devastated. Here's the irony in it, or now that I sit where I sit now, what I can share and hope that it helps somebody. I literally, I was not mind power Mel. I fell apart. I was sobbing on the couch, and I'm talking like it's like something took over me. Hands over my face, sobbing, like convulsing, like sobbing, feeling like the biggest farce, like the biggest failure. I do Mind Power Mondays, and I've borrowed private money, and now I'm gonna lose money. Like, I just felt like the biggest farce, embarrassment, fake piece of dirt ever. I went to that place.
Yeah,
and
we often do.
And I know better, and I pulled myself out, but man, oh man, it was awful. And that's where nobody's going to know that. Nobody's going to know that I have those moments too. I did ultimately end up getting actually a better offer. Yes. And so we ended up pretty much breaking even, maybe with a $5,000 loss, which I thought I would never celebrate a $5,000 loss. I thought, but hey, after almost losing 30. But my point is, I was in that dark place, and you do feel alone. And there's this idea that we need to, not that you need to fake your success, because that's not it at all, but you certainly can't go on, nobody's going to go on social media and sob and say, I'm about to lose 30 grand in this flip. And so it's just an awful feeling. And I think it's important for people to know that we all go through, maybe not that, maybe you're not crazy like me lying on the couch sobbing like a baby, but that we go through these challenging times.
Well, and we might not be sobbing on the couch, but we might react differently. We might all have a different reaction to it, but the stress is the same. And the feelings of failure, I think that's so huge, is the feelings of failure. And guys, guess what? This is what your life is going to look like for a long time. You are going to feel insecure. Then you're going to feel like, oh my goodness, it's all coming together. And then it's going to drop off the cliff again. And, we've had, just in Ignited, we've had 6 people that have lost someone very close to them just this last year. So that's, a parent, a sibling, that's tough stuff. Life happens. Then we've had, COVID and working from home and homeschooling. And this, all we see, we know, guys, and this isn't to get, depressing or anything, but this is to be real. This is to be really real about the reality of investing. We know that we're going to start at the bottom here, and our trajectory is we are going up, and we're going to end up here. But it would be really nice if we just went straight there, but we're not. We're going to go in those ups and downs to get there. But listen, look at where you end. Even with that roller coaster, even with those ups and downs, look at where you end. You still end up here. You still end up here, but you can't give up in the meantime. And you can't let, life get in the way in the meantime, and you can't let life get away from you in the meantime if you want to make it to that spot. You have to find a way to make it through. So go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, and you also, though, in my opinion, and I think in your opinion too, can't let your real estate investing trump everything in your life as well. And
Thank
so
you.
like a lot of the when I talk to investors and they've lost a loved one or they're parenting little ones and they're feeling bad at the pace that they're moving in their real estate investing business because of the fact that they have little children, or because of the fact that they're grieving the loss of their mom, or because, another investor's mom, was undergoing treatment for cancer. And the crazy, I mean that lightly and with love, the crazy part is that they actually will feel bad and beat themselves up that they are not taking the action that they should while they're going through this. And so to look at your life in its entirety, to be realistic and go, okay, so my dad, for me last summer, my dad passed away. Taking the time, allowing yourself the time to really honor that, what matters most, knowing that when you come back to it, you're going to come back actually rejuvenated and ready to hit it. When your mom is undergoing, chemotherapy, to take that time to drive her and be there with her to go through that, and just let go of the idea that you should be striving to do whatever in real estate this week or this month, and maybe just give yourself that space. That's what is going to allow you to be in this for the long haul. That, if you don't give yourself that, you're just not going to be able to sustain that. So I think that's a huge piece is you can't let life get in the way of your goals, but you also can't let real estate rule your life and have regrets later because you didn't honor those things that actually really matter, like your kids, your parents, your family, what's most important to you.
Yeah, I love it. And that leads us directly into this quote that I love. It says, really, what good will it do a man if he gains the whole world? So we could say a woman, person, whatever. What good will it do a man if he gains the whole world, but loses his own self or suffers ruin?
Yeah.
That's 2,000-year-old advice. This isn't new stuff, but it certainly applies to us as investors, where we know that if we don't take care along the way to honor who we are, we're not going to make it. And I this is not a new conversation for the last about 15 years. So we've been into real estate for 18 years. 3 years in, when it was getting real tough, we started having these really honest, raw conversations. And I don't know an investor that has gotten to where they wanted to be without first feeling like a failure, feeling like somehow they're going to screw it up, feeling somehow they're going to be the one that it doesn't happen for, feeling like, why is everybody else able to do this so easily? Why does it look so easy for everybody else? But I'm trying, I'm working hard, and it's not happening for me, and maybe it's not going to. And this is not a new conversation. This is a conversation that's been going on for a long time. So,
and I lived that. It took me 15 months after joining Ignited to land where I've landed. So people can look at me now and go, oh, whatever, I'm closing on 8 or 9 properties in a 2-month period of time. Wow. But you have to remember the 15 months that I sat there on Zooms, building relationships, and getting nowhere, right? You don't see that. No.
And yet I remember those conversations with you, Melanie, when you're like, what do I need to do differently? Like, what am I doing? What am I missing? I know I'm missing something. I'm like, no, you're not. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing. Just stay the course. You have to have faith in the system. And you were like, okay, I have faith in it, but I'm not like, it's so hard to keep on going. But what we want to talk about today is, what do we do about it, right? Yeah. And you have a really cool exercise that you're going to walk us through that it really shows us. So let's talk a little bit about honoring who we are and making sure that our gas tanks are filled up, so that we can keep on expending that kind of energy. So let's talk a little bit about that before I bring up the slide here.
So when we talked about feeling conflicted, or the different areas of life, and really wanting to be in this for the long haul, wanting to achieve our goals, one of the things I haven't mentioned that is aligned with this too is you talk a lot about your why. I'm going to call it that, but I'm also going to say your outcome or your goals. So really staying connected with that end picture, with that why, with your goals, with your outcome, and staying connected to that at all times, never letting go of that. And when you waver, when you're feeling any of the things that you might be feeling, that you bring yourself back to remembering that, so that you keep going, so that you have the ability to keep going.
Yeah. So for us, and we've told this story many times, but there's been more times than I can count where, 40 and 50 properties in, and self-managing those properties for the most part. I'm like, this is not worth it. This is not worth it. And for me, I had to learn to reprioritize. And here's the thing, guys. And no one we actually wrote an article, and I should have actually had it ready for tonight. But I don't. Actually, I think we have it anyways, there might be an automatic download. I'll put it in Fearless if there is. But we wrote an article that breaks down the fact that the average Canadian only needs 3 properties. If you start investing in your mid-40s, you only need 3 properties to really hit financial freedom for your retirement. And yet, here we think that we have to close on 9 a month, 10 a month, 1 a month in order to be successful. But really what we need to do, guys, is really just give ourselves a darn break. It's not, if you're going to try and do it all, I'm going to come out and say that I feel that you'll lose it all, that you're not going to be able to do it. And you're going to get out of the game. So how do we align ourselves, Melanie, with who we are, what we are? Because, some things have to be sacrificed. We know that, but what if we're sacrificing the wrong things? And if you're tired and you're feeling depleted and you're feeling, and I mean, we all have our moments, okay? But if overall for, a month at a time, you're feeling tired, depleted, a failure, a farce, it's not going to happen for you. If you're going, then it might be that you're not staying true to who you are and aligning and putting your time and energy into the things that you need to in order to refill your tank. So should I bring that slide up?
Sure.
Okay. Can you tell us what we're looking at here?
Yeah. So what we're looking at here, I mean, in the NLP world, this is a way of looking at your values, but for the purposes of what I want to share with us as investors is this is a really quick checkpoint. So I think I said in the beginning, one of the things you need to be willing to do is pay attention to how you're feeling. Decide that you want to feel good, that you want to achieve your goals, but you want to do it in a way that's aligned with you, rather than you have to make that conscious decision. Otherwise, you just go on the hamster wheel and never come up for air. And all of a sudden you arrive 10 years later without a wife or husband. And, or I mean, I'm being dramatic, but it is the truth. Like, you have to, first of all, decide you're going to make it a priority to honor yourself, to do what you can do to create the best life for yourself in all areas. So when you're looking at this wheel, and we've chosen 6 different categories, you can really have a blank wheel and pick your own categories for yourself that are aligned with what's important to you. But what you do is basically you look at this wheel, and do you want me to go through it with them quickly? Like if everybody were to look at the wheel right now?
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
So, and I've done this on a Mind Power Monday really quickly as well. So some of you may have done it before, and it's something that you can do on a regular basis to evaluate. So the trigger is something's not feeling right. You're not feeling aligned. You're feeling stressed. You're feeling conflicted or torn, like something's not right. Oh, well, I can pull out this wheel and I can do this little exercise and see and notice what I notice, and you'll see when we go through it. So basically you look at those 6 categories: career, spirituality, love and relationships, health and fitness, personal development, and family. And you can put real estate investing under career. You could add one that's sort of money or financial freedom. I mean, you can play with this wheel to have the categories that you want. Then what you do is ask yourself, what is most important to you? Of those categories, what is the most important to you? And write a number 1 in that pie, like inside the pie, in the triangle.
Okay, so if I'm doing this right now, right now, would I just draw kind of a mini version of this?
Yeah, you could draw and divide it in six pie pieces.
Okay.
And then, so we have here, and you can name them what you want if these aren't aligned with you or you want to add one, but spirituality, love and relationships, health and fitness, personal development, family, and career.
Okay.
So then what you do is you go through and you number them from 1 to 6, if your pie has 6 pieces, in what is most important to you. Number the most important 1, and obviously then 2, 3, 4, and put those numbers inside the pie itself.
Okay, just give me a second. So, Okay. I think I've got it. And I don't know if you guys are doing this along with me, but
it's really neat. Like, it's really helpful, especially when you have a problem. Like, especially when you're feeling conflicted, something is not aligned and you don't know what is going on. Mm-hmm. So once you've done that, then I ask you, where do you spend your most time?
Most of my time.
And now you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and put that on the outside.
Around the outside of the ring?
On the outside of the circle, so that you're able to, so you don't get mixed up on which is which.
Wow. Oh, huh.
Yeah, it's interesting, hey?
Yeah. Okay.
So now what you're looking for is, where are the discrepancies? Where is it that you say, as an example, like sometimes you may, or somebody may have a 1, like family is most important, but that's the number 6 on where do they spend their most time.
So, okay, so do you want me to share mine?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I put a number. So interesting. Okay, so spirituality for me is number 1.
Okay.
But I have it as my number 3 for time.
Okay.
Number 2 is family, and I have it as number 2 for time. So okay. I'm okay there.
Yeah.
Number 3 for importance is health, but yet it's like 4 out of 6 in what I put time into.
Yeah.
Number 4 is love, and I put it's a number 5. So wow, love and relationships. But the most interesting one, I guess, for me that's really standing out, which is craziness, is that for me, most important is business, career, investing, whatever you want to call it. As number 6, that's like the least important to me on my wheel, apparently, which I wouldn't have thought. But yet I spend the most of my time there. Number 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no wonder I'm tired.
Yeah. And potentially feel conflict of some kind, torn in some way, right. Not aligned, and maybe not knowing why. Because
I'm not necessarily honoring what is most important to me with my time and my energy. And so I'm feeling conflicted. And I truly am right now at this point in my life. I do have that crossroads where I'm going, I love what I'm doing. I love helping other people, and but do I need to buy another property? I get into these properties and I'm like, okay, we need to be buying in the Maritimes. We're like, what are we doing? We got to be getting out there. And then I think, but do we need to be getting out there? Like, why do we need to? No, we don't need to get out there. We're good how we are. I don't need to spend more time doing that. But yet, it always grabs my attention.
Shiny object.
Right? Yes. It is. Yes.
So I don't know if other people did the exercise and if they're noticing conflicts, and it's something to reevaluate on a regular basis. And again, you use it as a tool for when things aren't feeling aligned, when you notice that there's a problem of some kind, when you notice that you're unfulfilled, unhappy, something's going on. The reality is most people can't take as an example their career and make it the place they spend their least amount of time, because that's just not realistic. So there normally is some kind of discrepancy, I will say, in that category. But it's just a really good way to look and then feel good about the choices that you're making, and potentially make some changes where you need to bring it into your awareness. Maybe, if health is important to you, but you're not making the time, well, then you can create a routine for that. I do my workout and my walk with the dog in the morning before I do my day, because I know if I don't, it is not happening. I can have every best intention, but it is not happening. Yeah. And so it's structuring things and being aware. But all of this comes down for me to you don't want that conflicting feeling, and you don't want to ignore it, because if you ignore it, it gets to be too much. Now you can't handle it anymore, and you're out. You're done. Right. In something, whatever that might be. Yeah.
Well, and what's interesting to me is I would have said that what's important to me is business, investing, help, like our communities, all that. I would have said that that's really important to me. But then when you put it beside things like spirituality, your relationships, your health, family, the only thing that was actually, I probably would have those maybe backwards, but the only thing don't change it.
That's your logical mind jumping in.
Yeah, okay, you're right. No, okay. No. So the only one I think that I feel like, why did I label it that way, is personal development and learning. I do love that, but that should be taking a back seat. But yet here I put the business and work and career and investing and all that, I'll put that into the same kind of pot, is the least important to me, which is weird. I definitely would have thought it was higher up in that list. But when you look at your specific, ideals and the things that are important in your life, and you write them out like in this wheel, I think it really gives you that objectivity to say, okay, what is important to you? So it's pretty cool.
And again, remembering that it's for the conflict. So we're talking about people being, stressed or feeling alone. We're talking about being able to stay in real estate investing for the long haul. What are the tools? What are the strategies that we can implement so that we can enjoy this journey? Like, I'm a big believer in the fact that we don't know how many tomorrows we have. And as much as we're building for the future in our real estate investing careers, in business, side hustle, whatever it is for us, the reality is we need to enjoy today. I don't want to be so stressed out in my real estate investing business. And I get there sometimes, but then I'm snapping at my family, that I'm miserable now so that maybe in 10 years I can be happy. That doesn't work for me.
Totally. And that's the thing that, we've been preaching this from stage for so long, because, we'll have people coming up to us for sure, always at every single event we've ever spoken at, crying for some reason or another at the frustration. And I'm like, I remember saying to people for a long time, I'd say, how do you like your life right now? Like, rate it 1 out of 10. And a lot of people would be like, I hate my life right now.
Oh.
And I just like, then like, why are you doing all of this? To me, it's like, like rushing to go out so that you can have a good time, but you're so stressed getting out the door that you can't possibly enjoy it. Like, what's the point of that? Just, don't go. And that's the thing. It's the journey is part of it. So what are you guys working for? You're working for having freedom, less stress in your life, time with your family. Are you honoring all of those things that you're working for? Are you honoring all of that right now as you walk this path? Because if you're not, what makes you think you're going to have it when you get there?
Because you can't get this back. That's the thing. So when I talk to investors who have their little ones and they're exhausted, and that's a really physically draining time and demanding. And then those investors are the same ones who are super like driven and motivated. They're at that stage in their life where they want to go for it. And, it's funny. I mean, this is the opposite to what a lot of people would say, but I say to those investors, like, enjoy right now. If you go a little bit slower, but you get to actually enjoy your children now, like one day they can be teenagers and they're going to be locked in their room on their phone, not wanting to talk to you like I'm dealing with now, right? So I'm not saying let go of real estate. I'm not saying let go of your dreams. Hold on to that dream. Hold on to that outcome. Still take steps towards it, but be realistic based on your life, and don't resent, because again, a lot of what happens is there's this pressure to succeed, this pressure to do what everybody else is doing, this pressure to get it right now. And then people are resenting those little beautiful beings because those little beautiful beings are stopping them from being able to do this the way they want to. And like, to me, that's heartbreaking for mom, for dad, for kids. Like, this is going to be here forever. So whether you nail it in 2 years or it took you 5, or you nail it in 5 years, it took you 7, like, who knows? It doesn't matter. But you have to be willing, in my opinion, and you don't have to listen to me, you can do whatever you want, but like, be willing to look at your life in its entirety. So yes. Real estate investing is important to all of us. Obviously, we're all a member of this community. We're all, wanting to achieve great things. But be willing to look at your life in its entirety so that you can stay in it for the long haul. It might be a bit shorter or take longer to get there, but you do it happily and you enjoy what you have right now while you have it.
Yeah. Okay. And I hope that you guys are hearing our message and the passion in our message, because we talk to a lot of people, we talk to a lot of investors, and we hear the struggle, we feel it, and we've seen the struggle ourselves. 16 months, I was all out in real estate, going all out, everything that I had, working on it. And yet I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't getting anywhere because I measured things by number of deals or whatever it might be. Yeah. I was getting a lot of places. I just didn't know it yet. So Michelle brings up an interesting thought. So, and Adele had another interesting thought I'd love to address with you, Mel. So if you have attained that career, it makes sense that it's not high, correct?
I would have to ask more questions about that, Michelle, but I would think if you've attained the career, if you've arrived, it would probably be high. I think it would typically be high if you've achieved, but I would have to have a conversation with you, look at all of it. My initial response is those who have achieved a certain level of success and maintain that success, it's high on their priority list. It's important to them.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps, Michelle, and we can talk offline, but yeah.
if you had a full-time job with a side hustle of real estate, then it looks like it all takes up a huge chunk of time. And Adele, that's who we're talking to recently. A lot of people are, emailing, messaging, and kind of saying, how do you do this? So you guys, we had a side business when we got into it. How did you balance that? We had a 5-year-old and only one of them. I really don't know how moms and dads right now are doing it with little ones. Like, in this pandemic environment where we're working from home, we have no childcare. We don't even have, like, I'm used to having my nieces over all the time, but I can't even have them at my house this last year. So, like, even my sister's life has changed because of that. So I don't know how parents are doing it. It's super difficult, but what I do know is that they're being hard on themselves and acting as if this is something that they should be better at. And I don't see how they possibly can be. And people are asking us, how did you do it? Well, for one, it was a different time. For two, we didn't do it well. And for three, we did try to remember to enjoy your investor life along the way. And I think I'll just tell this quick story is we learned that there was this couple when we were first starting investing. They were really sweet. They had only started maybe 4 or 5 years before we had. And they were buying these duplexes in kind of rougher areas, making them the nicest place on the block and renting them out. And they were selling one. And so we went to see it and thought maybe we would buy it, and, had some great mortgage terms that we could assume and that sort of thing. And, we didn't buy it because I was afraid of the tenant demographic. But, we saw her a month later, 2 months later maybe. And I said, I brought him he gave me like this little handkerchief thing or whatever. I said, I brought it for him. I have it in my purse. I'll go and grab it or whatever. And she's like, he actually passed. And I was like, what? And here they were selling that place so that they could buy a place down in Phoenix so that they could retire down there. And he never made it there. And she said, if there's one thing that I am really glad is that we didn't do everything for tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We lived our life. Now we had a great life. And she says, did we spend some of the money that we made in real estate? And do I not have it now that he's gone? Yeah. But do I regret it? Not one bit. She's like, we traveled, we did all the things we wanted to do. And I'm really proud. And, she sold off all of her properties and she got out of real estate, and I don't know what ever ended up happening to her. But, the journey is really important, because we would not want to hear from someone who says, we never got to do it and I regret, right? No regrets, right, Kenya?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the thing, if I were to think of one message that I hope to share with everybody today, it's that we're all individual. We have to map out our own journey. We have to stop comparing our journey to other people. We have to figure out what's most important to us. Like Adele's question about working full time and doing real estate, and that takes a big chunk of time. Absolutely. The people that are doing that, it's amazing. And the only thing I urge people to do is pay attention to whether it's a problem for you. If it's not a problem, if everything's aligned, if somebody is, at a stage in their life, or even if they're not, like, no guilt about where you like to spend your time and what you like to do. If career is really truly what drives and motivates you, and you spend most of your time there, even though you're a mom and you're a this and you're a that, and it's aligned and you feel good and you're happy, perfect. It's only when you're feeling conflicted. It's only when you're feeling bad. And so if everybody could take the time to map out, what do you really want your life to look like? Where are your priorities? What's most important to you? Where does real estate investing fall into this? And then honor that, whatever that pace may be, then you're going to achieve everything you want and you're going to enjoy it in the process. It's when we try to be something that we're not, or keep up with the Joneses, or whatever it might be, that's when we feel that conflict, that stress, that overwhelm, and then we are more likely to give up because we feel like we're not succeeding at something we actually don't even want in the first place. That's the irony.
Yes.
Irony, right?
Totally.
If family, as an example, is most important to you, and you're spending your time with family, so you're going a little slower in real estate, but then you're beating yourself up because you're not moving as fast as everybody else, You didn't want it that way anyway. So you're beating yourself up for literally no reason. Like, it's crazy.
It is crazy. Yet it is human conditioning. It is what we do to ourselves. And it's a constant topic, guys. This isn't a new topic. This is something that we've been talking about with investors for 15 years that we've been in it. And I'm sure, those who have been in it longer, we're talking about it then as well. So give yourself a break. Like Ray says, you can be that frog in a pot of boiling water on the stove. You don't even know that the water's going up, the heat. So
the key is to be willing to stop and reassess and reevaluate. You have to make that a priority, just like analyzing properties is a priority, just like analyzing markets is a priority, just like all of those things are a priority. You've got to make your well-being and your life as a whole, it has to be a priority to reassess and reevaluate. Stop, step back, reevaluate, reassess, move forward. Stop when you get to a new phase, reevaluate. Like, you can't just go and never come up for air, because that's when you're the frog.
Right, exactly. And I just, based on what you said too, I wanted to just kind of highlight that this is personal ideals. This is not the ideals, like you said, for everyone. And I can say with certainty that Corey, for him, golf would have to be on there. Yeah. And I know, like, he for many years was like, I feel really bad. Like, here you are like, oh, we need to change the world, and we need to, help people, and we need to, whatever, free our families from stress. And he's like, and I'm like, I really want to watch every hockey game, and I need to golf a lot. Like, I don't need to, but,
want to.
But at the same time, yeah. And if that's his ideal, like, go for it. My goodness, this life is only here for us for a time. We're only going to be able to enjoy it once. Like, get out there, So, and
I'm a firm believer we can achieve success and honor ourselves in the now.
Achieve success and honor ourselves in the now. Achieve success and honor ourselves in the now.
It's not one or other, it's both.
I love it. So that's the thing. We have bad years, Mark, and sometimes they just come along, and that's just the way it is. But just know that your next year will probably be better. Or like Adele says, she took a decade off from real estate because that's what her life needed at that time. But, and I love this point, there was no social media, so she didn't know what else everyone else was doing. She didn't have to feel awful about it. She just went about her merry business, got back into real estate when her kids were grown, and is killing it, to say the least.
1,000%.
Without all the guilt and without all the self-defeating negative thoughts. Mm-hmm.
So social media is a beautiful thing because it allows all of us to connect. It allows us to share, learn. When I post my learnings that are usually painful, it's in the hope that it will, help someone else. When I post something that I've achieved, it's in the hopes that it inspires somebody else to take action in some way. Like, it's great and it's beautiful, but it also does have the ability to create a ton of struggle if you don't know how to sort of turn it off and again, really focus on your own goals. What do you want out of your life? Because Bob next door wants something different. Sue next door wants something different. So what do you want? This is your life. You create it and design it the way you want, not the way Bob and Sue want it.
Yeah, I love it. So I love the exercise, and guys, some people have said, oh, I would love a copy of that slide, and we can make that available for sure. We'll throw that in Fearless, so you can download it and even edit it yourself. It's just a PowerPoint slide, so you can, change those ideals yourself.
Add another slice to the pie.
What's that?
You can add another slice to the pie, like if they wanted to. Yeah. Yeah,
it's just in a graph form, so you can add another layer. And I myself plan to print this because it's a good reminder for me to, I do believe, okay, what did you say? We can have success yet
honor ourselves now. I think I said it was about honoring yourself now. So we can create that success while honoring ourselves in the now.
I love it. Yeah. And I think we have to make a concerted effort to do that. So there's some other things that can help you guys. Fearless, as you know, is a community of investors. We are all feeling the same thing. And maybe we're not all feeling it at the same time. Maybe one time, I'm like, I'm rocking it. I'm rolling it. I feel like everything is just lining up like perfect and it's just going. And then the next month, I'm the one that's going, I don't know if I can continue doing this. I'm a failure. My plans aren't working out. So use this community, throw it in there, put a post in there and just be like, you know what? Like this is how I'm feeling lately. Like walk me through some ideas, walk me through give me some positive things to think about. Sean Kearney, I remember him doing that in Ignited. Hey guys, I'm having a really crappy day today. Mm-hmm. Send me some jokes, and we all just send him these gifts and all these things just to make him laugh, because sometimes we just need that community support, knowing we're not alone. So use that. Now, there might be solutions that you can ask for. There may not be a solution. There might just be objectivity, where people can just give you a different frame of looking at it without the emotion, because they don't have that emotion at that given moment. It might be just community support that, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one feeling this way. But use the communities that you're a part of. Fearless, of course. There's other great communities out there. Use them if you're feeling this way. Know you're not alone. Know that we're here for you. Jump on Melanie's Mind Power Mondays, because you get all this kind of stuff every single week. It's just powerful stuff for all of us. So, yeah. Any last words of wisdom, Melanie?
Well, I don't know. I think I've probably said everything. It's really just being willing to, making the choice that you matter enough, making the choice that you are going to pay attention to how you're feeling, recognizing that you have the ability to change it. I mean, I think we feel like we're a victim to our circumstances, when the reality is we do have choice. We may not always like the choices that we have, but we do have choice. And this is our life. This is it. And so, we torture ourselves. This is what I share on the Mind Power Mondays. We can torture ourselves by what we say to ourselves and beating ourselves up and looking at everybody else and comparing ourselves. Or we can build ourselves up and focus on our wins and focus on our goals. And it all is a choice. And again, a huge thing, which we've both said a million times, is for everybody to know they're not alone. Like, they're not alone in any of these struggles. So to sit and feel like there's something wrong with you, or you should be doing something different, is absolutely ridiculous, inaccurate. You're wrong. Please hear me. Like, we all face those challenges. I don't care how experienced the investor is or not. I don't care what you're seeing on social media or not. I promise you that whatever it is that you're feeling, other people have felt as well. So,
yeah. Awesome stuff. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for your time. As always, you are amazing. So Mondays at 11 a.m. right here in the Fearless community. Melanie does her Mind Power Mondays. So always dropping gems of, how we can use our minds to further our investing, further our lives, our happiness, enjoying the now, that sort of thing. Next week, we have a panel on private lending. So we're going to have 4 different screens with different people that do private lending different ways. So come armed with your questions. You can certainly submit them ahead of time. We're going to put a post in Fearless for you to be able to submit ahead of time, and we'll see you all next week. So thanks for joining us. Have a fantabulous week, and thanks so much again, Mel.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, cheers everyone.
Bye.